Great. Okay, so I'll get going. So yeah, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you all for joining me today. My name is Joel Hogan. I'm the programs manager here at Charity Digital. For nearly 7 years now, I've been providing support to charities in a variety of different ways over the years, from frontline support, such as your classic email, phone, and even live chat more recently, to also delivering consultations, webinars, and workshops similar to today as well. So our major focus at Charity Digital, like all charities, is impact measurement. And for over a year now, I've been providing consultations to charities of all shapes and sizes, advising the best offers out there, from software to hardware, to picking out solutions that may be missing in a charity's strategy. So we do like to experiment with how we engage with our audience at Charity Digital. And like I said, we have provided consultation, started successful live chat communication as well, and also provide content and mail shots based on a user's interests. Now, Charity Digital has the same challenges as all charities right now, with one of them being capacity building. How do we do more for less? So our next step in measuring our impact through engagement leads us to this event today. So we wanted to provide a small focus groups to a specific charity type, and where we feel there may be education on a topic that has been overlooked. Now, I've spoken to hundreds of religious organisations over the years I've been here at Charity Digital about a variety of different topics. And the main trend I do see is that there is a gap in cybersecurity. Now, this could be from simple internal processes, should come as a standard practice, to software or solutions that protect a religious organisation from cyber threats. Just go on the next slide. So, agenda today, not too many slides, it's not a webinar, it's more of a Q&A session at the end. But yes, so today I'm going to speak a little bit more about patterns that we've seen in religious organisations that lead us to concerns and gaps in cybersecurity, as well as provide some quick free wins to enhance your online protection just a little bit more. I'll then be talking about some software-based solutions, a little bit of hardware as well, that are available to religious organisations at a discount, and also be providing you with some useful links outside of Charity Digital as well. And like I just said, finally, a Q&A section will be available at the end. I'll do my best to answer your questions, and a feedback link will be sent at the end as well, just to measure what I'm doing is good and hopefully continue to support you. So without further ado, let's talk about some trends. So I'm going to run through some information from the National Cybersecurity Centre Cyber Threat Report for the UK charity sector. Now, the main obvious challenge for all charities in cybersecurity is limited funds. Now, more than ever, charities have smaller budgets for overheads and are primarily focusing on service delivery. A matter like cybersecurity can easily fall down the pecking order for needs when compared to costs of hardware or software that provides email use or service delivery. Now, with so many charities sometimes almost exclusively relying on volunteers, they will most likely be using their own personal device to help the charity. This is far less secure than using a device that is managed by the charity, much difficult to monitor for attacks. Now, it was reported that in 2022, from a survey of 424 charities, that only 22% of charities had a cybersecurity plan in place. The 2023 stats aren't available just yet, but we are hoping that with the big push of cybersecurity education over the past few years, that this percentage will rise. Now, quite obviously, the main stat is the less the income, the less likely a charity will have some type of cyber protection in place. So let's go a little bit more specific into our religious organisation types today. So on the topic of religious organisations, I think one phrase to take away from today is that cyber criminals do not discriminate. Cybersecurity attacks on religious organizations have unfortunately been on the rise globally since 2020. A few examples of attacks there. So in 2022, the Vatican was hacked with data exposed. Last year, a Catholic publisher had a huge data breach, financial and other sensitive documents were extorted. And also, unfortunately, with the rise of hate crimes, and in particular anti-Semitic, Holocaust websites are now under constant threat for cyber attacks. These are just a few examples of an unfortunate growing trend. Now, previous to these recent trends, a lack of attacks on religious organizations may have led them into a false sense of security when it comes to being cyber secure. The most common trend of cyber criminals is high budget attacks, meaning that financial and health institutions as well outside of religion tend to be high priority for targets. But now criminals will simply resort to hate or trolling to cause serious grief to religious organizations, with financial gain still being a goal if possible. So we've spoken about the concerning part, so let's bring some positivity back in the discussion there today. So let's look at some quick wins first. So not only do you need to bring in security internally, but your audience, members, followers, however you call them, also need to have trust in you too. One way to do that is to ensure that you are communicating with your own email domain. So for many years now, after speaking to so many religious organizations, so many of them are still communicating with the generic email domain. So, and what I mean by that, who aren't sure, is such as a Gmail address or Hotmail address or BT Internet, something like that. That is what we call a generic email domain. It's important for any organization, let alone charities, that you use a dedicated email domain to bring trust to your audience. Now, it's extremely easy to create an email address using Gmail or Hotmail that anyone can pose as your religious establishment. So just a couple of examples here. So St. James's Church at gmail.com or Goodwara Kingston at hotmail.co.uk. These are examples of generic email domains. They can be created with a few very simple steps and can be used to target the most vulnerable or uneducated members of your charity. So I know another quick win there is always keep your software up to date. Now, cybersecurity breaches often happen when there are vulnerabilities in your software which has not been updated. When you receive a message to update, treat it as critical rather than just another annoyance. Two-factor or multi-factor authentication adds another layer of security. Yes, I understand to some it can come across as annoying or troublesome at times, but it is part of your responsibility that when using tech or software associated with your charity to be another layer of protection. You should remove sensitive information too. This can be associated with GDPR compliancy, but ensure you do remove information that is no longer needed. A simple first step on that is to check perhaps your recent downloads tab or temporary downloads and ask yourself, how much of that are you really using right now? And do you just perhaps delete all of it, or most of it at the very least? Finally, for a quick win, ensure the firewall is switched on. Firewall monitors your internet traffic that aims to access your computer and denies access anything that may raise an alarm. Please note that the firewall alone isn't your main protection. Like I said, it's more like an alarm, but do ensure that that is switched on. So here are some examples of discounted solutions via Charity Digital that religious organizations are eligible for. I'll start with some endpoint protection, which is used to protect your device from antiviruses, just going alphabetical order here. So you may see Charity Digital, so with Avast, you may see Charity Digital push this option a lot. And the main reason for that is accessibility and inclusion. So eligibility criteria can often be a stumbling block for religious organizations, and I wouldn't be surprised if any of you here today have come across any blocks with eligibility in the past. I'm more than happy to provide a massive discount on their cybersecurity solutions to religious organizations via Charity Digital. There aren't any restrictions on the amount of products that you can request either. Now, the Avast Cloud Care portal, which is used to manage your cybersecurity software, is fantastic. You can easily assign or reassign licenses to devices as and when you wish, run regular ports. You even have the option of purchasing the content filtering add-on, which could stop your users from visiting websites with perhaps inappropriate content. Another option for endpoint protection is Bitdefender as well. So Bitdefender is another great option for cybersecurity with some good pricing available. The levels on Bitdefender isn't quite the same level, we would say, as Avast in terms of ongoing support if you have any issues, but there are restrictions on the amount of licenses that you can purchase, as well as budget restrictions as well. So if any of you today are coming from religious organisations that have a large income on the Charity Commission or elsewhere, you may find some restriction problems with gaining a discount with Bitdefender. But yeah, the product is still a very fair option. It's certainly been a trusted provider of cybersecurity in the sector many years. Now, Microsoft 365. Microsoft have a couple of cybersecurity solutions via the cloud. One is Windows Defender, and the other is Intune. There are a couple of little bits I can touch on as well, but those are the main two I just wanted to touch on. So Windows Defender is a great email protection. So it's not necessarily your ideal protection. It's not the same as endpoint protection unless you upgrade it to something called Windows for Endpoint, but Windows Defender for Endpoint, which costs a little bit more. So there are some options there, but that Defender can help you. Just a normal Defender plan can help you protect you from opening sort of suspicious links via email, even elevate your spam filtering as well. Now, Intune, I would say, is almost a pivotal software option for any organization that uses lots of devices remotely. So if your organization doesn't have a specific office, do work remotely, it's something that you seriously want to consider. It manages access for users, accessing files and resources remotely, and can help set up multi-factor authentication too. Now, Defender and Tune, as two separate license options, can push your budget up. But the good news is there is a product called Microsoft 365 Business Premium, which I'm sure many of you are using due to the great charity offer it has. Business Premium includes both Defender Plan 1 and Intune. It doesn't include the antivirus endpoint version of Defender, but does provide the email protection. Business Premium is a really good option for charities who could email, store and share your documents, access your legendary Office applications, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and have a good element of cybersecurity covered all within sort of one package, if you want to refer it to like that. You can get 10 Business Premium licenses for free directly with Microsoft, or you can obtain via Charity Digital for a small service fee, and we'll provide you ongoing support with those licenses as well. Now, MailShell, I did touch on the email protection features of Microsoft. If you're not using Microsoft, a super low cost option for anti-spam is MailShell, which is about £3 for the year for one device. It could be an option for those, if any of you are currently using Gmail or some other type of email that isn't Microsoft. It could be an easy low cost option. Again, it's not a full cybersecurity solution, just a small part of it that is affordable to meeting your cybersecurity requirements. Now, with Dashlane, many religious organizations will have one device shared by multiple people. In this instance, password storing tends to happen. Now, with passwords, and perhaps I should have mentioned it earlier in one of the quick wins, but with passwords, you definitely do not want to be saving them on Word documents or pieces of paper or anything like that. You do want to be saving sort of shared passwords securely if you're going down that route. Now, there is a discount code available that will provide 50% discount on the Dashlane business subscription for 2 users. It's a world-renowned, reliable password manager and a password generator as well. Did I kindly ask anyone to put themselves on mute? Sorry. Thank you. Bye. So Cisco as well. Now, Cisco products are used to set up internet connections in a physical office. They are mostly hardware options, meaning that they are physical items such as routers, firewalls, and switches. If your group has its own office, rather than working remotely, investing in safe network hardware, like I said, routers, security appliances, and switches, could be essential, with Cisco being one of the world-renowned leaders for this. If you don't have your own in-person IT, sort of your own IT person to implement this, you should consider arranging a consultation to help with the implementation, which I believe Cisco can help with as well. One thing I will mention with Cisco, just for eligibility, so Cisco will not provide a non-profit discount to religious organizations without a secular community designation. So to have a secular designation, this is their definition, by the way, an organization must provide services to people regardless of their religious beliefs and must not propagate a belief in a specific faith. It must also have a charity number separate from that of the main organization. So that Cisco will be applied to us, with many religious organizations I work with outside of perhaps the place of worship. You have some sort of community outreach or humanitarian work that goes out in other countries or something like that. So if they have that side of what you do had its own charity number that's outside of talking about your faith, then Cisco will be able to provide discounts for you on that. So some useful resources just outside of Charity Digital, just because we just like to say what else is out there as well. So just some pieces of sort of links which you may find useful. So I mentioned them earlier. The National Cybersecurity Centre is an invaluable source of knowledge on cybersecurity, and particularly for charities as well. I surely recommend them as your first stop for any queries cyber related. They also have lots of great free tools for you to use as well, such as web check for vulnerabilities on your website, mail check as well to help you understand the security of your email configuration, and another tool called early warning tool, which can help you investigate cyber attacks on your network by notifying you of malicious activity that has been detected. You should also really take advantage of their free e-learning tools, like the cyber security training for small organizations and charities. We do a lot of work with them in the form of articles and webinars, so do check in with us at Charity Digital for cybersecurity updates as well. IASME, if you're looking to obtain your Cyber Essentials accreditation, IASME is a really good choice as they will provide special rates for charities. They also provide cyber assurance if that's something that you have the budget for looking to do, and they also provide lots of accredited training as well. The Charity Finance Group, it has a hub dedicated to charity fraud with lots of articles from the sector. And Preventing Charity Fraud is another great website, lots of information for charities of all sizes. And just a little bit of at the end there, just a little bit of software, not an organization we work directly with, but someone that we've used, which you might find useful. It's called Know Before. So this is a great product which allows you to test the knowledge of your staff's cyber security knowledge. So based on a person's answers, that person will get training associated with the answers to the questions which they may have got wrong. It's a really good ongoing training tool, and also really good for onboarding new staff and volunteers as well. So perhaps you might want to implement a sort of cyber security test when you bring someone in new, and see what level they're at, just to help them bring you into your the same culture and approach to cyber security. Okay, so thank you for being with me. I hope you found that interesting. Just going to take a look at get some questions now, if any come through. Thank you all the intros, by the way. I didn't get to say hello to you. I do have an opening question that was pre-submitted just to get us going there. So what is so this is received from a Simon, can't see you here today, but this is preemptive. So What is the most common type of cyber attack? So I would say at the moment, the main trend, so historically for quite a while now, is something called ransomware. Um, to simplify that for you who may not know what that is, it does sound like something that what it would do is ransomware, it will perhaps block your hardware or help stop you from accessing a certain document or something, and basically ask you to pay to access it. And in pretty much all cases, there are people who've gone down the route of actually paying these criminals, and then they don't even provide them the key to unlock anyway, or anything like that. So that's ransomware, and that's been kind of top of the pile for many years now. There has been an increasing trend now, understandably, which is now more AI-related cyber attacks, as now nearly as reported from some other cybersecurity experts in the sector, that AI-related cyber attacks are nearly or almost the same sort of level of frequency as ransomware attacks as well. So let's have a look here. So there's some questions here. Thank you. So Carl, what is your view on uSecure? To be honest, it hasn't, honest answer, Carl, it hasn't come my way yet in terms of uSecure. Yeah, uSecure. So I can't really give you an opinion here on that side, but that's certainly for me something to look up for. It's not something that's really come my way with such a vast world of cybersecurity options. It's something that's gone completely skew with for me, but no, thank you for that. David, so if a church uses Google, what advice can you give them to use it safely? So email, docs, sheets, exactly, yeah. Yeah, so if you are using Google, you'll want to be looking at a lot of the sort of software options I have mentioned today, which are outside of Microsoft. So obviously you want to ensure that you've got your endpoint protection in, which will be like your antivirus, something like that. You'll want to perhaps use your password protection managers as well. A lot of it, I would say, with Google as well, because the trend with Google is that we find a lot of charities or charities in general, not just religious organizations, they start with Google and then they end up moving to someone like Microsoft just because the security features included is just a lot more professional. I'm not saying you should do that, but it's just a really big trend that we do see. And Google is a great starting point for the smaller charities, and then they move over to Microsoft. So outside of that, you may want to just certainly look at cyber essential accreditation. So look at, for example, ASME, and just really ensure that everyone within your organization are on the same page. When it does come to cybersecurity, you're all following the same rules. Like I mentioned earlier, making your software is up to date, enabling multi-factor authentication where you can, deleting unused data, all that. So those may be some quick wins, which for those of you who are using with Google outside of some of the software options I mentioned earlier. So another question here. Thank you, Rick. I presume that your endpoint security was assuming local mail client. Where's the Google environment with our own domain name? Are there anything we need to consider for this setup? So by endpoint security, I meant sort of it could be anything from anything. So it could be like your standard device for your PCs, laptops, or even you're using servers as well, is a form of endpoint security. Google, like I said, is a tricky environment that doesn't come with a lot of security features that something like Microsoft have. And I don't mean to keep pushing to Microsoft. I'm certainly not a sales for them personally. It's just a trend where lots of organizations move over to them. But in terms of domain names, yeah, it's something that you should certainly set up, whether it's with Google or with Microsoft. There's actually a free domain option up there on our website, which is in partnership with an organization called Pork Bun. We'll send like useful links at the end. By the way, I didn't clarify that's anything I've mentioned today. There's a recording and links we've spoken about, but you can get a free charity domain where your your domain would end in .charity rather than your .com.org. If you're not happy with that, you do want your typical .com or .org, then there are plenty of domain providers out there for that. We have a computer that, so thank you, Paul, for this one. We have a computer that is used for the Zoom host. It is used by different people on a rota basis each Sunday. It has a generic login and password known to all the team. What is the best way to keep that secure? Sure. So in terms of that password, like I said, just make sure it has been stored safely. So please don't be using it or saving it on a Word document or within a Teams conversation or even on a piece of paper as well. So with password protection, there's a number of options. Like I said, there's a password manager I mentioned earlier with Dashlane. You may want to consider looking at Okta. Okta is what it does is because we use Okta, it's a really useful tool where you can have all of your apps all in one place, shared with sort of like one login, like stored safely. So you just log in once and you've got access to everything now. And then it will ask you to update passwords every now and again just to stay on top of things. But if you want to keep everything all in one place, Okta could be a useful option. I do believe they have a non-profit option, non-profit offer up there where you can get a large discount with them as well. Let's have a look. And Carl, thanks for the link on uSecure, by the way. I'll certainly have a look into that, but some training as well. Thank you. And Rick, thank you. The problem we have found is that the Google world and Microsoft world don't mix very well with a lot of overlap of features. Yeah, I'd agree. It can be tricky running all separate organizations who are perhaps fighting for the same pile of people. I would agree. I mean, one argument is Mac users, but I find Mac users still struggle with using Microsoft software on their Mac, even though you do buy specific Mac software that is Microsoft. So yeah, there can always be collisions with that for sure. I mean, at Charity Digital, we work a lot across a lot of platforms, and we do a lot of reduction of platform exercises because we're always trying new types of software to help with our mission. If you can, it is useful to try and bring everything into one area if you can. You don't want more platforms than Clapham Junction, because it will just end up being confusing in that sense. So if you can make a decision of bringing perhaps most of your emails, documents, and security over to Microsoft, and then maybe use Google for your ad grants work and getting your name out there. Maybe you can simplify one to the other. So I do agree. Anita, hi, it's Okta free. Do you know what? I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm happy to send. I know that they do an option for charities for sure. I believe they have their own sort of validation service where it's at very least a discount. It's not something that we don't provide the Okta discount, so it is out there. So if you search for something like Okta for non-profits, something like that, it will bring up the information that you do need, whether it's a discount or free. In the past they have had donated offers for charities, to be honest. So unless they've changed it recently, I'm certainly not a gambling man, but I would say there's a high probability that they do have a free offer for charities, at least to get yourself going anyway. But it's really a really useful tool, and I'm happy to hear about your interest in that. Let's have a look for any more. Just seeing questions. Thank you so much, by the way, for all your questions so far. I really appreciate your engagement, and it's so good. Just going to type in, thank you, Paul, for sharing that. Really appreciate that. I'm juggling lots of different things today, so about that. Just wanted to share. Oh, I've sent that to you directly, David. Sorry, but everyone in the meeting. Yeah, everyone. Sorry, I just wanted to share our feedback link. Otherwise, I'll get told off by the powers that be. So, reason that our feedback is so important to us, it will allow me, if you enjoy the session today, to allow me to present more sessions like this dedicated to your charity type on different topics as well. Like I said, impact measurements really helpful to us. So do take your time maybe at the end, which I'm sure is coming up shortly, just to take the time and give us some feedback. Yeah, thank you very much, Alice, for that. Okay. I'll give you everyone maybe another moment for any more questions to come through. If not, nice punchy session. And like I said, all the resources will be emailed to you shortly over the next sort of day or two, video links and anything like that. So I'll give you another moment, and yeah, one more moment, take a sip of water. Oh, thank you all. Richard, maybe you could start off with, in terms of firewalls, Cisco is a starting point. They do really well. Cisco really are expanding the way that they want to impact charities, particularly in the UK. So that could be a great starting point for them, for you. Thank you for all your great thank yous, everyone. Really appreciate that. I hope to provide us, like I said, a similar session on like this to you all in the future, maybe perhaps on a different topic. Perhaps you could feedback about things that you are interested. Don't say AI, please. Everyone's talking about AI. No, I'm joking. Well, whatever you're interested in, if I do get enough interest in that, we could perhaps dedicate another session of that to educating ourselves. Okay, I think that's everyone's questions. So I just want to say thank you for joining me today. There's my email. If you ever feel free to, you've got a direct link. If you've got any questions for me, I'm more than happy to help you out or point you in the right direction. Again, big thanks for joining me today, and please take your time to fill out our feedback form as well. Really appreciated. And I wish you a good afternoon and enjoy your lunch.